What's going on, everybody? This is PhDarien, the guy with no PhD. It depends on who you ask. I got a PhD. Let me know if you guys like this video by giving it a thumbs up, commenting, and sharing it. Subscribe if you want to see content like this more. You clicked on the thumbnail you saw, or you clicked on the thumbnail, yeah, you saw the title, whatever it may be, whichever order that worked out. And we're going to be talking about holsters and drawing from holsters and how you can train at home for pretty much free. And while nothing is free, you still need your time. Time is money. We know that. But you're going to need to know how you can train at home without going to the range. Some days you're going to get off late. Some days, the weather permitting, you can't go to the range. So not only is it going to be time, it's going to be weather. It's going to be overall stress. Do you even have the capacity to sit there and deal with all the range donkeys that are at the range and waiting forever? So you might not even have the time. Another thing is finances. You don't have the money to get ammo. You can't find ammo. It's not even being sold in your area because scalpers are running rampant with it. So I never know what people are doing and why they are at the range at that time. I know why I'm there. And if I don't go to the range, my room is my range. There are plenty of things around my room to shoot, or at least shoot at, with snap caps dummy rounds. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead, draw my pistol outside of this holster, dump my magazine, lock the action to the rear, and let you know that it is clear. So there is no bullets, no ammo at all. Go ahead and make this thing back to condition 3, and I'm gonna put it in my holster. And the reason I put it in the holster is because a holster is another set of hands. It's something to hold when I'm able to utilize my hands free. A lot of people think that, oh, we don't need holsters, or only these holsters work. Inner waistband holsters, outer waistband holsters, and appendix carry holsters, hip holsters, drop thigh holsters. Whatever you have, train to it. I have to train to multiple different things because I actually do conceal carry. So I have a conceal carry specific holster. I have one for work. I have one for the range. So each one of them, I'm constantly going through different ways on how to draw and my methods and techniques with that. So currently right now I have a drop leg or a thigh holster. I don't have any crazy cowboy stuff where I got to lean over like that just to get my holster. So my hands right now, natural neutral position, interview stance, sometimes they call it. If I drop my hand completely like this, I am at the very bottom of my holster where I can pretty much hook up to it. And that's good. You have bails and different retention devices. So you have single retention, you have 2-point retention, you have no retention. I have all 3 of those before me now. Right now I have a dual point retention. This was something I had to borrow for a class I'm currently going through, which is primarily geared towards law enforcement and security forces. There is an escalation of training or deadly force for them. They do not get to draw the sword, use the sword as I do. And there's a reason for that. Those people have to de-escalate a situation before it gets to deadly force. I, however, thankfully, and maybe unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, I don't have that luxury. If I'm drawing the sword, I plan on using it 100%. And the reason for it is this: because I do fly in helicopters. If I was to go down over enemy lines, if I was to get shot down or crash or do something over enemy territory and someone came and rushed the aircraft, I am not going to try and use verbal commands and non-lethal force. I'm just going to start dumping on said individual or group of individuals. And so you need to know how to draw that holster properly, combatively, or if you don't want to do it that way and you want to draw it from a marksmanship point of view, that's fine. But just know what you're training to, and you can do it all in your room. So, the dual point retention, like I said, you got the single and the dual. So I got my first step down, still can't take the weapon out. I'm going to have to go ahead and hit the secondary. Sometimes I will actually just do that. I'll look at something and I'll actually draw my gun and do something like that. Now, you also saw me put it back quick just by doing that because my intention is to show you that. But every single time I do draw my firearm, for the most part when I'm training on my own, not making a video, I'm going to draw my firearm, go, and I keep it out. I keep it out, I keep the weapon off safe, keep my finger on the trigger, and I keep it trained on the target. I will primarily shoot it, and I will for this video as well. But I just want to talk and get it out first so you can actually do this as a drill. I wanted to talk about belts as well. So as you can see, I did that. This belt I currently have on, I don't like it too much, and then there's a reason for it, and I'll go ahead and explain it. It's your classic military belt. And so, you know, it's got like the magazine pouches that slide all over. They're the big, dopey, leather-looking ones. Who likes that? And it's fine. It'll work. This is more of a guard or duty belt. It's not a combat belt, although you can be combative while using it. Another thing I want to talk about outside of this double retention, and let me go ahead and just go practice. I'll go ahead and lock the action to the rear, take the mag out, and take this holster off with this belt. I don't like this belt because it has no real retention, at least not for my usage. So something I also have, like I said before, I have what's called a concealed carry holster. So with concealed carry holster specifically, this one is the T-Rex Arms Sidecar. There are many similar to it. They have a 2.0 version, I believe now. You have Tier 1 Tactical and all these different companies that have their own versions of holsters. Find the one that works best for you. They're not all one size fits all. These are only for tall people. These are only for military law enforcement. These are only for fill in the blank. And so this holster specifically, this one is, however, not loaded as well. Cool. So what I'm going to do with this one, I will also draw. So that's from a drop leg and or thigh holster. This is from a concealed carry standpoint. I would have had a jacket or a bigger shirt or something of that sort on me. I will still, once again, look around the room, scan, ID threats, whether it be a pill bottle for sleep aids, a lampshade, my wallet, the Apple remote ID I got over there, even the iPhone little 5-watt plug outlet. And I'll go ahead and draw, and I'll train my crosshairs, not crosshairs specifically, but my sights on that target, and I will keep it punched out the whole time. So just for the purpose of this, I'll go ahead and take that out. And no magazine, no round. This is every gun I have is a real gun, but it did have real bullets in it, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure I don't even do that because I will be pulling the trigger. So some of my actual training, like I said, you do not want to just pick one thing. Pick things that are different in your room. Like I said, lampshades, pill bottles, remote controls, all that stuff. I want to pick things that are eye level with me, things that are above me, maybe pictures, top of the picture, and things that are on the ground, something that fell on the floor or the wall outlet. Because every single time I punch out, I want to make sure that my eye and my hands are trained together at what I'm aiming. Not every threat is going to be ideally level with you. Sometimes it's going to be below you, sometimes it's going to be above you. So whatever I do, when I do that, I want equal height, equal light. So I'll do that too. I'm not wearing a garment, but a lot of people will cheat their garment. They'll go ahead and, you know, they'll kind of flip back. They'll do whatever they have to do, depends on where their sidearm is at, and they'll go ahead and draw it. And then when they break, they'll do their scan or follow through, and that's that. So practice that alone. Find things around your room to draw on, and then get better, get faster. So that's one of the concealed carries or holsters I have. What I'm wearing right now is a pretty much Krydex belt. Now this belt, I like it because it's something I can wear in my flight gear, like as I am now, but it's also the inner belt for my, if you want to call it a tactical belt, a competition belt, or just a fun belt. You can get these on Amazon, stuff like that. And this is what I wore during one of the courses of fire that I was recently in, not too long ago, maybe a few weeks back. And this one right here also, I will be utilizing the M18, which is my gun. Go ahead and load that. And this one is a holster that is more on the hip. This one is not at the, I can't drop this one down here. This is at the hip. This is not natural to me to come up here with my elbow like that. This is natural. This is going to be natural, but this is not. So some people will actually kind of do that bend I was saying earlier, but in the opposite way. So instead of me bend down to get my rifle, or I'm sorry, pistol, I have to bend down the other way to get my hand up enough to not do so much of an exaggeration like that. I may be wearing body armor, plate carriers, something where me hunching my shoulder up that much is not exactly ideal, feasible, whatever it may be. So I also wear something like this. As you can hear, it is all Velcro. So it fits onto the belt, and all I gotta do is just take that off. I have M4 magazines in it right now because that's how I'll actually train with it. Everything has dummy rounds, but the reason I have M4 magazines in it is because whenever I do train, even in my room shooting at absolutely nothing, I want to make sure I grab the right magazine for a dry reload, speed reload, tactical reload. I don't want to come out here doing this and I'm punching on paper and I'm like bang, 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 bang. And I'm like, oh crap, let me go ahead and, you know, simulate I had to do this. And I grab this and I'm ready to feed an M4 magazine into an M18. I just completely duped myself because I should have, first of all, grabbed, reached back, felt that's not the right one, that's way too wide, and then go to the right or correct magazine. So that's one way to train at home as well. Go ahead and put that back. Like I said, I do reloads and stuff like that. I will actually shoot. I think I just got done racking that back. And I'll do that. So I can utilize you guys on YouTube right now. All of you guys in the audience. You guys are typing some hate in the comment section. You guys are thumbing down in the video. And I'm like, what, bro? And I can sit there and train those crosshairs on you, or sights, whatever it may be. I say crosshairs a lot because I tend to shoot optics on my rifles. So I see crosshairs a lot. So I call everything crosshairs. So for the purpose of this video, if I say crosshairs, I mean sights overall. Equal height, equal light, crosshairs, front sight, post, whatever. And that's one of the things you can do in your house, and it doesn't cost you much. I do recommend, though, getting some sort of snap cap dummy rounds because they are very, very cheap. You only have to buy them once. You can shoot them forever, essentially, until they no longer get gripped by the extractor. And you can train all the time. And if you say, well, I need to feel the recoil of the gun. No, you do not. If you can't shoot nothing and you still have a lot of issue with your hands, it won't matter if something blew up in your hands and it was a controlled recoil. So one of the things I did want to say too is when you are actually doing some gun shoots like this, pay attention to the way your gun looks. So the sight radius is not the same of me punching back like this and looking at the height of the sights right now and where they are in reference to the back, the slide to the receiver. Then when I lock it to the rear, it does not look the same to me at all. And a lot of people don't get that. So what I will do is I will go ahead and do a lot of training on my own when it comes to that. So putting that in there, go ahead, taking my magazine. I'll just go ahead and load it back like that again. I've done that plenty of times. I will go ahead and take it out, shoot, draw, or punch out, draw, shoot, whatever you want to call it. Draw, punch out, and shoot. Let's get it right. And nothing will happen. And what I will do is I will conduct an immediate action drill. I will do a tap, rack, bang. I'll explain that in just a second. So tap, rack, bang on a firearm, on a handgun specifically, I'll show you what it is and why. But I'll go ahead and try and draw from a holster, and I'll get on target, and I'll be shooting, shooting, shooting. It stops, and then I'll tap, rack. And then I'm going to go ahead and look. I'm no longer looking at the threat like this. I'm going to stop, take my eye off the threat for the second, and then look at my holster. I want to make sure I'm actually aiming at my holster. I do not want sympathetic squeeze, and I'm shooting at myself because I just got into a firefight. I either got shot at, or just shot someone. So what I want to do, as soon as I do this right here and the threat is down, I can bring the weapon back into my workspace, and as I get ready to physically look, because I'm going to take my eye off the target, I am going to look and put a box in a box, and I'm going to do that. Some people like to sit there and just draw and shoot, 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 and then they just like to do something like this, and as you can see, it's not exactly where I wanted it. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just understanding that's exactly a good thing. A lot of people, what they do as well is they'll get on target. I might just go ahead and take this magazine out for that. Or nope, I'll leave it in. Fight like you train. I'm going to go ahead and shoot my hat right now with nothing. And what I want to show you guys is something I see happen a lot. I see it on Instagram videos, TikTok videos, YouTube videos, as people will be so enamored with their time on the shot that they forget to follow through. And that is key. That is ideal. I don't understand how you think that that's a good thing, that you're so fast, but you only hit the dude one time. You may hit the target one time, but you may not have stopped the threat. So hitting the target and stopping the threat are not the same. You can stop the threat by hitting the target multiple times, and so you need to be able to have a follow-up shot. And so let's say I'm shooting this hat. This is what I see often on YouTube or something like that. As a matter of fact, I have a shot timer in my range bag over here, but I'm not going to break that out. I don't feel like hearing that noise. But I'll look at that and say, hey, look, that's a really bad dude on YouTube who's making stupid comments in my video, and I want to go ahead and draw on him, right? And oh, look at that. What was my time? It's like, who gives a shit what your time was? Did you hit them, and are they still a threat? That's what matters. So everything I'm going to do, for me, how I like to train is I will sit there and square up on that target. I don't try and get into a fighter stance. I don't sit there and get ready like this. I will stand in a neutral, natural position, interview stance, and just assume like, hey, look, I got my eye on this guy. And as soon as something happens, I'm going to go ahead and draw, shoot, and keep the gun off, safe, finger on the trigger, and be ready for more hate to come down at the end of my muzzle. And the reason for it is because I want to stop the threat. I don't care if I hit dead center. Did I hit the target? Are they still shooting back at me? Are they still a threat to myself or my platoon, my teammates, my crew, whatever? And that's what you need to be looking for. I try and make it a habit, even trying to do juggle right now. I feel like I'm on a unicycle with flaming bowling balls right now. I'm trying to look in a camera, think about everything I had to study, actually do what I'm doing, and speak through it all at the same time. So I'm going to probably jack some stuff up. But at the same time, I want to make sure I'm saying what I'm doing what I'm saying. And go ahead and draw, shoot, shoot, shoot. Okay, stop, threat is down. And then I can go ahead and look. Now that my threat is down, I can look at that. And I also right here, I'm still on fire. My finger is still on the trigger. As soon as I start to do this transition right here, my finger comes off and the safety comes on. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the box in a box. I like to do that for me. Someone else is going to teach you some completely different doctrine, and they have every right to teach you that based on what they've gone through. I'm not teaching home invasions. That's not my lane. I have a home, and I could be invaded, and I can understand this is probably what I will do. But when it comes to just basic training on weapons manipulation, weapons handling, weapons fundamentals, you can do that in the privacy of your own home. Even watching videos like this actually help a lot of people. There is no end to what you can learn on YouTube. You can probably Google open heart surgery, and there will be a YouTube video or 3 recommended for you right at the top. And so it's like that for a reason. You can learn a little bit of everything on this platform. So understanding different holsters is one thing. Like I said, you have concealed holsters, you have drop thigh leg holsters, you have things that are on your hip, and then also drawing the gun. I want to talk about something specifically when it comes to M9s, M11s, Berettas, whatever it may be. It's going to be this, drawing. When you draw a firearm, you want to make sure you're doing it expeditiously, speedily, fast, quick, stat, whatever words you got to use to get it out, get it out. In your head, get it out. You may fumble with it for a little bit. That's normal. I still do. I might do it on camera as I try and explain it and say, look, I just gooned it all up. But guess what? I don't care. That was one more repetition of me not just thinking about drawing my gun. I'm actually drawing the gun. It's like wanting to work out, but you never do it. It's like, well, the people who work out, it shows. And they're still going to have bad days, but it's still going to show that they clearly work out. And those who don't. And so that's another thing. I see these extra magazines over here, and I'm going to draw on them real quick. And I'm going to do something like this. Now, everything I just did for me was quick. So in that time, I drew my gun, took it out of the holster, swept the safety off as the muzzle started to come towards the enemy. My finger already took the slack out. I smacked the other hand for support, and I punched out. I did all of that in the time that it took for you to see that. When I say I take the safety off and I sweep it off and I take the slack out, I'll show you what that means. So Once again, I have dummy rounds in here. There's no loaded chamber indicator to let me know anything's happening. But, so currently on this firearm, the safety is on in the up position. It is off in the down. So if you look at where my thumb would be, or just right here, that is on, that is off, on, off. So the fact that it's off, I can actually shoot it.
Nope.
Right? Get it? Let me do this again. So, safety, off. I take the slack out. So I had already shot this earlier. I can actually shoot it. All right, so you hear that. I'm gonna do that one more time. So, safety, cannot shoot. I can on actual fire, should be obvious. But what I do when I'm actually drawing that firearm out is as soon as I get it out, as you can see the safety's on, I'm going to do what I do. That's what I like to do. I like to get the slack out. So when it comes to having a striker fire pistol of some sort, you want to have a slack, pause, press type of ditty in your head. What's the ditty? Slack, pause, press. Slack, pause, press. However you want to do it. When it comes to double action firearms, like the other one I shoot, the M11, SIG 228, the M9 Beretta, that has a double action pistol. So once you're drawing from the holster, you want to roll the hammer back. You actually want to be taking out a lot of creep on that huge 12-pound trigger or something like that. And someone says, oh, well, it's like that for a reason. I want the gun to surprise me, but not that damn much. I don't want to get everything trained, get on target, take a good breath, think about what's going on, and then squeeze a 12-pound trigger off, because I will miss. 100% of the time, I will miss. You may not miss, and I want to see your video if you do that. But what I want to do is take a lot of that off, because I can easily squeeze out a 4 to 5 pound trigger with no problem. So what I'm training myself to do when I do that is just take the slack out. So I'm already at the wall. You might hear it referred to as the wall as well. I take all the slack out, and if it's a double action, I take maybe 8 pounds of that out, so I only have 4 left. But I'm already punched out. I already have equal height, equal light. My sight alignment and my sight picture are good. My sight reference is that on top of the target. Everything is fine. Steady gun, breathing control, and then trigger control, the last part. I'm getting so many text messages about absolutely nothing. So yeah, that's one of the many things that I will do in my room to train. So hopefully you guys can find some of this stuff enjoyable and do it on your own. Don't feel weird. Everyone does this, especially a lot of your big YouTube gun owners. They are gun content creators. They do stuff like this, or they have. They may shoot all live ammo at this point because they're sponsored and they've got thousands of rounds given to them to do gun shoots. And I still have thousands of rounds. I have rounds laying everywhere right now, but because I clearly am not at a range, guess what I'm going to use? I'm going to use dummy rounds, snap caps, things like that. Other training aids. Visual training aids are all the targets in my room, or anything that can be made into a target. The weapons manipulation, I still want to use it. I don't want to use a shape. Nothing against shapes, but I don't want to use a big blue gun or a red gun shaped like what I have. I want to use what I actually have. I want to get that down. I want to load the magazine. I want to rack the action to the rear. I want it to lock on empty. I want all of those things to happen, because that's what would really happen. So another thing I train to are reloading. I will look at myself and think to myself, like right now I have 3 magazines. I have 2 on my holster, I have 1 in the firearm, and I will do reloads. And then there's different reloads, or you may hear the same thing and say, well, I thought that dry reload was an immediate reload or a speed reload. It may be the same thing to you have been trained to, or what you've read, whatever theory you've heard, and that's fine. However you get the gun more ammo and feed it in there, call it what you want. As long as it works for you, that's what matters. So I'm going to go ahead and get the gun out, and I'm going to assume I was just shooting and ran dry. If I ran dry, which I'm about to on purpose, so I have a fake round in there, and I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot it, and once it shoots, I'm going to keep squeezing the trigger. I want the trigger to act as if it goes dead essentially. And then I'm going to just in any random time going to say, oh, I ran out, and I'm having a stoppage, or at least what I think is a stoppage. I'm going to tap the bottom, I'm going to rack it, I'm going to see that little blue round fly out, I'm going to notice my slot is locked to the rear, and I'm going to go ahead and feed in another magazine, get back on target, and put more effective fire to stop the threat. So this is what it looks like for me, at least. That's something that I would like to train to a lot of. And you can do the same, like I said before, dropping the magazines and stuff like that. And now that I know I have that, I'll go ahead and put this one back in it, or just leave them out. You don't have to do this. I have a pack of 10, so I'll look for 10 at the end of this whole thing and make sure I keep doing that. But I will do more than just the reload. I will even do a tactical reload, and I want to make sure that when I'm doing that, I would have already been on target. So my safety is off at this point. My finger had the slack out, but then if I notice, say, okay, look, some of the fighting stopped, I get time to move and gas my gun back up, I will pop it back on safe. I won't leave it on fire, because I don't want sympathetic squeeze to be a real part of my new mishap story. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep the weapon on safe, or put it on safe since it was not. I'm going to draw my spare magazine. Now, during a tactical reload, I would like to draw the magazine from the rear. The most rearward magazine I have available is which one I'm going to grab. If it was an immediate speed or some sort of reload like that, I'm grabbing the first one I can grab, which is the first one. The whole point of this is staying alive, and for me to grab from one magazine to another, if that takes another half a second, that was another half a second I wanted to be shooting at that person. So for a tactical reload, I will go ahead and get positive control of that magazine. And once I get positive control of that magazine and pull out, I'm not going to just dump my magazine and let it hit the ground, because I want to pick it back up. That wasn't very tactical at all, right? So what I'm going to do, just to simulate that, I'm going to leave that mag there for now, is I'm going to grab the other magazine as if this was the only one I had, and I'm going to get it out. And I have my finger on there like that, so I'm going to get it out, and I'm going to, I can, I have bigger hands, but I'm going to then pretty much cup. And as I'm pulling that one out, I have both of them, and then I'm going to go to the next one, and then I'm just going to slam it back. And I'll sometimes just sit around all day for maybe 5-10 minutes, and I'll just do reloads. Now, during the time I'm doing the reload, I'm not looking off into space. I'm looking at what I'm doing. I want to see the magazine go in, because it actually is something that, for me, is a good reference image. So I will kind of scan the room a little bit, but I'll go ahead and as soon as I start to feel that I'm pushing up on the magazine, I'll probably look back out, drop this other mag, put it in my dump pouch if I chose to do that, or, you know, go ahead and put it back where I would want to, and then like, oh look, this dude's shooting at me again, and punch back out and shoot, and ran dry again. And I will do that over and over again until all of my fingers hurt or something like that. I still have some rounds in there right now, so let me go ahead and stop that. But that's one of many things you could do. I do not want this video to get too long. It's already at 28 minutes. You guys have probably been clicked off of this video. But understand that too. And you can do immediate action drills. You can do remedial action drills on your own. You can still do them all in your room, and you do not need real rounds for it.
Nope.
So now that I'm going to do that, let me go ahead and, there we go. So that one's empty now. Is I will do that too, is just the reload. And you can have, which one is this? You can have a completely empty magazine. So both my magazines are empty and my firearm itself is empty. So whenever I go ahead and do a tap rack bang, or just lock the slide to the rear in general, and then I'm going to instantly look and say, not like this. I'm not going to come down here like some guys exaggerate. I'm going to know it's dry. But what I'm going to do is once I actually pull it back, I'm going to now see that it needs more ammo. And so before I start dumping it, because if I dump it and then I'm over here fumbling around with trying to find my magazine, I'm just looking like chewed up bubble gum at this point. So what I'm going to do is simple. Let me grab that. So I have my gun, it's out. I just locked to the rear, and you can see that right here on camera. You can see the white behind all that, and you know it's locked out. Is I'm going to now you can, but you don't have to. I'm going to physically sweep across. I know where I put my magazine. Some people have their magazines angled such an extreme way for whatever reason. As long as it works, that's fine. Mine are just pretty much vertical. They move a little bit, but they're not angled backwards or anything crazy. I'm going to grab that magazine, get a positive grip, and as soon as it's about to break this magazine pouch, that's when I start to dump that. So I'm actually starting to dump that, and then I'll get back on target at that point. Now, if it's a dry reload, essentially that magazine is useless because it has no bullets. It does me no good if it has no bullets. And if I'm in the middle of a firefight, I will dump that magazine. If it was something that had a stoppage on it, I will probably not do that. Now, of course, you're going to hear people talk about, well, you should never rely on your secondary weapon because your primary weapon is that, so get that back in the fight. And that's a whole nother video, but your primary weapon could be your sidearm. And I'll tell you right now, if your primary weapon, which could be an AK or AR style type rifle, goes down, this is now your primary weapon because your other one doesn't work. And essentially, it's just a 5 to 7 pound piece of crap that's weighing you down. So definitely wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Was it informative? Was it something different than me being a talking head about parts that you probably already watched like 40 videos on? Let me know what you guys think about that. Like I said before, my credentials are small arms marksmanship instructor. I've been in the military just over 20 years, and I've been shooting for 18 of them. So hopefully you guys like this video. Like I said, please give it a like, comment on the video, share it, do whatever you got to do. Come back, watch it again so you can understand whatever I said at minute 10. This is PhDarien. Hope you liked the video, and I'm out. Peace.